Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Well, it's great to be part of this event, this conference, and if you don't mind, I'll speak as you said. It's going to be the eyes of a politician from Central Europe, from a neighboring country, Slovakia, and also it will be a rather more strategic view. And when we speak that we are not just neighbors, I personally saying that very personally. It's really very personal to me because it was my second year of my office as a prime minister when the war started. And I remember everything very well. And I'll speak a little bit of it. And, you know, and I'm a child who experienced the communism, who experienced the Soviet Union practices. And also now I'm a person who is a European, who loves European Union, who loves to be part of European Union, and sees a great potential and future for every country being part of democratic and free world. So this is going to be the view that I'm going to give you. And therefore, when we spoke in Slovakia, when I was prime minister, that your victory is our victory, we really mean it, and we see it, and I will show you and share with you why I think so. Well, first, couple notes on why your victory has such a great importance. And I mentioned that when I was in the office several times. But there is first, of course, morale, because the brutal invasion of Russia on your territory, there's no excuse for it. And all the people who died and who suffer of this invasion, as I said, no excuse. So the first dimension is the moral. But there is also, I would say, a historical going forward. The reason, because we fight and you fight, and we fight together with you for the values. That's what it is when we go to the core. Values of human dignity, of freedom, of democracy, of future of human beings as such. So therefore, the whole developed world must come to this and be part of it in a way that we show example for the future generations. We have to have this in mind all the time. And why I say that? Because we see that the politics currently, also with the social platforms, is getting a new dynamics. Populism has been here, and we know that the populists, what they don't want to see a future. They don't want to see a clear future. They don't like clear future. They don't like good future, because then they lose power. So they need to always mess up every picture of any clear future. And with the social platforms, the propaganda is being shared and spread much faster and much more effective. And that's what we're facing. And I'm speaking as a Slovak, who Slovakia was under strong influence of Russian propaganda. And as you see, the results of the elections is a clear example of strong influence of Russian propaganda, where the government, we didn't have enough tools in time to respond to this attack. And therefore, the outcome of the propaganda is as it is. And it's a big problem if the head of the propaganda becomes a very successful politician, who in this case was four-time or three-time prime minister, now four-time prime minister, Robert Fico, because he was the most experienced, with great credit. If you are three-time prime minister, the only three-time prime minister in the country since the beginning, then of course you have a different credit as any politician in the country. And if you take the propaganda in your mouth, it spread very much, very great pace. So, but having said this, we need to look in the future, and we need to speak what is the future of Ukraine. Of course, the future of Ukraine must be designed by the Ukrainian people. You have the right to say what is going to be the future, and you say it, I think, pretty clearly. You want to be member of EU, you want to be member of NATO, you want to be democratic and free country. Great. As a Slovak, I say it's great for us to have a prosperous and stable democratic, free country, it's the best win. That's what we want, because then we can become more prosperous, more developed, etc. The whole region, and definitely more secure. It's a big difference for Slovakia, and I think for any country, but that is neighboring with Ukraine, when and excuse me, when we have a democratic, free, and developed country, or we have Russian troops on the border. And this is very clear, and that's what we were saying to our people. And we have to be very clear, even though the populists, the propaganda will try to bring always different pictures, and we have to fight for the truth. That's very important. So I'm glad that we are right now here, and I will tell you, because I was here in May, I think it was May 21. I became a prime minister, or maybe it was, no, it was, I think, actually it was fall 21. In May 21, I went, it was one of my first visits, was to Kiev, to visit Volodymyr Zelensky as a new prime minister, Czech Republic, but then I think the third journey was to Ukraine as a neighboring country, because I saw the potential of our partnership and the potential of Ukraine for European Union. So I came to visit Volodymyr Zelensky and Denis Shmihal, but then the second visit we made here in this hotel. We actually had the meeting here, and we had a press conference in the separate room, in the next room. And we're speaking about 8 areas where Slovakia can help Ukraine with the accession process, with the reforms, etc. This was prior to the war, half a year or so. But we never stepped in, because then the war happened, and then the EU took over, which is very good. But that's where I want to say that we have to have in mind the vision of the future, because, as I said, all the populists and Russian propaganda will try to mess this up, so they will weaken your hope and your trust for the future. Keep it always in your mind, and always look where you started. And I very much remember how the whole event started visually when Putin, in summer 21, lowered the gas flow to Europe. That's where it all started. There was Belarus. You remember the event or the affair with the aircraft as they landed. We as a EU responded with the first sanctions, but then the gas started to be lower. We started to see this is not good, and then we saw how the troops were bringing to your border, etc., etc. So when we speak of the challenges, and I would like to speak very, very shortly about the challenges that we face as a developed world, but mostly European Union, countries of European Union. There is still the challenge of the energies, because that's the connection of the European Union countries to Russia was because of the gas and oil. And that's why the diversification is so important to finish it up, so we are not dependent on Russia at all. And we see how difficult it is, especially with some of the countries, as Hungary, who doesn't want to. And we'll see what happens in Slovakia. And also, the other challenge is the security, because this is being discussed, and it's, as a politician, you know that these people feel it, and it's very emotional. Security is very emotional, so we have to have this very much in mind. The other challenge is the Russian propaganda, as I said, on social platforms, very easily spread, very poisonous. Then what we see is the growth of populism based on the propaganda against Ukraine, the push for the fatigue in helping Ukraine, fatigue in believing of your in your victory. And also there is the challenge of push for division within EU. As you see, the first Ukraine was using the language that they don't want to support Ukraine with military support. Now Slovakia is saying that as well. Very unfortunate. We don't, because it undermines the hope. And also, very important topic is the interpretation of peace. What it means to reach the peace. And this is a very important topic politically, because I don't think there is enough voices of other key players in the developed world who would say that, yes, this is what we see under peace. Because we hear Russia and China and others who say what they see as a peace. Ceasefire. It starts with ceasefire. We keep the territory. That's the first step to peace. Well, is this a peace interpretation for you, Ukrainians? Of course not. Because somebody came and took your territory. And now wants to say, oh, leave it as it is. Excuse me, this is not peace. So it's very important that we speak of the peace for the future, and your interpretation must be loudly spoken out, and also by other key players. And let's speak a little bit, because when we speak, we need to speak future. That's very important. And I would like to share that for not just for Slovakia, but as a prime minister who was part of the European Council, Ukraine is very important potential as a country for several reasons. Economic is one of it, but as I said, the democracy, for the democracy purposes and for the historical purposes going forward, it's great when we get another country prosperous, developed, democratic, and free. And Ukraine is a great potential. It could be a great role model for Western Balkan as well, because they've been struggling with getting and not getting and making reforms. And that's why I remember when I was coming to visit Kiev with Ursula von der Leyen, and we're together in the train. And I told her, well, you know, Ursula, you might not remember, but Slovakia in 1998 kind of missed the train for integration. 97, actually, because Czech Republic, Poland, and Hungary started the accession process. Slovakia not, because Mečiar was the prime minister. He didn't want to. We're named black hole of Europe. But then the government changed in 98, and we wanted to catch up. And we got kind of individual track from European Commission. And I told her, let's give Ukraine an individual track. Let's not look at them as a package, because it should be merit-based. As you perform your reforms, that reflects how you meet the criteria. And if you meet it faster, then great, do it. And actually we'll help you, because we were, as Slovaks, who received help of European Commission back then. So we could catch up, Czech Republic, Poland, and Hungary, and actually we caught up. In 2004, we all joined EU together, even though we started later. So it's possible, and you're performing very well. And you have to have this in mind, and all the developed world should help you with your reforms so you can do it as soon and as fast as possible. And you are. The candidate status you received in 3 months from the time you started to speak about it. It was in Versailles. And in June, you received the candidate status. So you can, I would say, perform miracles as you are. I can tell you that you are performing miracles, because when the war started, I remember as we were in Brussels for the meeting, and we were teleconferencing with Volodymyr Zelensky, there were many leaders said, well, we don't think this will last longer than a couple days, maybe maximum 25 days. It's 626. You performing miracles. You need to believe in those miracles and perform them more and more. Because Ukraine first is bringing security to the whole region, definitely to neighboring countries, so it's very important your success. Another is economic prosperity, not just for the neighboring country, not just for Slovakia, mostly for neighboring country, but for the whole Europe. As a big market, I mean, definitely economic prosperity for the whole region of European Union. Great role model, as I said, for other countries, that they could follow your example, a very significant example in making reforms in cooperation with the institution of European Union, and also learning a lot of lessons, how to perform reforms. We can advise, and we will advise, and greatly advise, and we are advising how to do all the reforms, because it's very important to have strong institutions and have good legislations, good rule of law, good values introduced into your legislations, etc., etc. And so that's very important from the perspective of looking at the future. Now, if I may, just a couple recommendations from our experience. The first thing, and also the bad experience, you need to be very, you have to have in mind the propaganda. The propaganda was very strong in Slovakia, and I think there is coming the point where it will try to undermine your unity. The unity of Ukrainian people and government is the #1 instrument. If you start to lose this, that's not good. That's not a good sign. So you have to keep and watch and focus on keeping the unity. That doesn't mean that you cover your eyes before any problem. Not at all. You are transparent, you speak about it, but you have to have the motivation of unity. That if you do it with the motivation of unity, you achieve total different results. So that's very, very important. Then the second is that you fight against and prepare to fight against any propaganda that will try to undermine your people. That's very important. And then you perform as much as possible all the necessary reforms, judiciary, procurement, etc. Because you have to prepare for the time of rebuilding Ukraine. And you have to utilize the time and the money that will come most effectively. That's gonna be the driver, and also from the perspective of role model for the whole Ukraine. So this is very important to prepare, even though you have full hands with fighting the Russians. You have to separate certain energy and instruments and resources for preparation or for the time of rebuilding, because you want to be well prepared so you can accelerate. And definitely, this is how you have to also share it with the countries of developed world. They need to see your vision. And you are doing a great job, but you have to keep doing it and always keep it clear, keep it simple, and be loud about it. Because as I said, in the time of populism, in the time of propaganda, everybody will try to make this picture dirty. So there is no hope for you. So there is no future. And you must keep it very simple, so every citizen of the world knows why it's important to have Ukraine as a democratic, free, and stable and prosperous country. And I can just say that from the perspective of a neighboring country, we remember how good relationship we had before the war. But it wasn't the full potential because you weren't member of EU. So that's why if we achieve this, and as long as it takes, let it take as little as possible. That's very important. So this is the view that I wanted to share with you, so you understand and you keep it, because the difficult times that you will be facing, the challenges you will be facing, you have to have always in mind the vision that you deserve. And if you will, then the success will come, no matter how many little losses will be in between. The big success is ahead of you. And I, as a former prime minister of a neighboring country, and as a citizen of a neighboring country, I wish that you will achieve it. We all need it. And as we were speaking as leaders, and you could see, again, maybe you don't realize it that much, but the closer you are to Ukraine as a country, the more you understand your issues, your problems, and your dream. The further you are, the less. So that's why, and you need to know that the significant role in helping and motivating the Western Europe in supporting Ukraine in all the areas was played the Eastern countries, because we have the experience with Soviet Union, we have the experience with Russia, with Putin, with his regime. We know the people, etc. So that's why we were great advocates, and we need to remain great advocates in your help, because we want you in. So the developing all the great relationships with these countries, it's very important, this diplomatic work. It's very important that you continue and develop it more and more for the future. So I wish you great success, and as said, always look back and look at all those miracles that you already achieved that will help you to hope for more miracles in the future that you will achieve and you need to achieve, and it will bring you to the success that you need. And don't hesitate, just go for it. Slava Ukraini. Thank you.